Greetings and welcome to the fall 2021 semester. Welcome back. It's been quite a year. I want to take a little bit of time to go through the syllabus with you. You can all read it, but I want to point out some highlights to make sure that you're focusing on some of the important points in the syllabus as we go. On the front page is basic information, in particular about office hours, for example. They'll be synchronous, they'll be held via Zoom for both the online section and for the in-person section. There are two sections of this course this semester that I'm teaching. I'll try and keep both of you on the same schedule throughout the semester. That may change at times, but many of the processes will be the same whether you are taking the on-campus course or the online version. The online version of the course is actually really just for students in our online economics program. And that's why you don't necessarily have that choice if you're an on-campus student. So there's some important dates that are here. This syllabus is for the on-campus section of the course. That's why you will see the Tuesday, Thursday, and location information. Obviously, that is not the relevant for those of you that are in the online section of this course this semester. Similarly, the final exam date is set for the on-campus section of the course. It will be on Thursday, December 9th. Make sure and mark that on your calendar. We may use that same day, but it is to be determined when we will have the final exam for the online section of this course, section 05A. This particular date and time is for the on-campus course section only. I will be in touch later in the semester with the online section of the course to determine when exactly our exam will be. There are a few differences between the online and on-campus section of the course in terms of some activities that we'll do that we wouldn't be able to do in the same way online. So this I'll point those out as I'm going through here shortly. So we've got coronavirus protocols for fall 2021. As you well know, things are dynamic, things can change. Pay attention to this Aggies Care website for A&T. The link is here. It's a hot link. You can use that to always get the most up-to-date information. Read through this section if you have not. If you are experiencing flu-like or coronavirus symptoms, you should report that to the Student Health Center at A&T. Whether you're on campus, whether you're living off campus, somewhere else, it's important that they have understanding of the breadth of that spread of coronavirus. While for those of you online living somewhere else, it's not important in the same way, but they would like to have some understanding of that. And in particular, it helps perhaps with documentation. So if someone tests positive, if someone gets sick, if someone needs to be quarantined, not just quarantined, but if somebody is really sick and needs to or cannot be participating in class activities, calling the Student Health Center will help provide documentation for that, right? For your instructors, for me in this course, right? And there are isolation, quarantine guidelines. I will do the best I can with you. Should you get sick, should you need to quarantine, in general, if for online students, you've got all the information, you've got all the resources. And in fact, for the on-campus students, you will have the full set of videos that I've created in the past. They're not lectures just from class. They are separate videos created to highlight and go through specific topics in each chapter or most chapters. And you'll have access to those just as the online students will have access to that. So should there be a need to pivot to online teaching for on-campus students during the semester. We hope that doesn't occur, but if that happens, we'll be able to do that pretty seamlessly. We'll just be able to pivot to that. All the resources are there. I taught this course online last semester, as well as, of course, after we pivoted to online the previous semester as well, or well, actually spring 2020. We'll work with you, but you'll have access to the material generally, but we'll need documentation should you have to quarantine, or in particular, if you are sick. If you're quarantining and asymptomatic, you should be able to participate in the course pretty regularly without any pause. But if you are actually sick, that's a different story. You'll need to talk with me, but you'll need to have documentation of that. All right, so course materials, we use the e-text, and the link to that is in Blackboard. I will have a separate video talking about that in the Blackboard site. You've been given information in the Start Here section of the Blackboard site about how to get access to that. Okay. Actually, there are some changes that we've heard about to that, and I'll be sending an email out about that if you've had any challenge. In the meantime, you can certainly use the 2-week free trial. That should work just fine while we're getting things sorted out. But I think that probably you have been emailed an access code at this point for accessing the book. So you will always get to the book and any MyLab activities through the Blackboard website. The Blackboard website is your hub for the course. And we'll come back to that in just a moment. Subscription to the Wall Street Journal, that's a requirement. There's information in the Start Here section of the Blackboard site. It's one of the steps that need you to do. It's $1 a week. It's a really small amount to pay. Normally it's a Wall Street Journal subscription, and it's hundreds of dollars a year. Of course, they're trying to get you to learn how to work with that early, so that you become a customer for the rest of your life, depending on what you pursue with your economics degree. But we will be using it regularly in the course. It's not an option. Okay, and we'll have other readings throughout the course as well. So there'll actually be actual assignments that will require you to be reading the Wall Street Journal on a regular basis, like every week, every day. I've got a subscription to the Wall Street Journal as well. Okay, some technology, basic technology skills, and as well as basic technology that you need. In particular, it's really important. Chromebooks, iPads, tablets, they're not going to work for you in this course. Ultimately, they'll work for a good chunk of things, but you may run into a roadblock at some point. You really need to be using either a Windows or a Mac computer or laptop for the course. That is actually part of the College of Business and Economics requirements for majors in the College of Business and Economics. So that link is right here. All right, and you should make sure and get a scanner app like Adobe app. Scan app, which it's free for your phone. It works really, really well, because you will be asked to scan homework assignments, etc., and upload them to the Blackboard site, whether you're in the in-class or on-campus section or the online section. And certainly at the end of the course, when after Thanksgiving, everyone will be online for the following week, and then final exams will be online as well. And so you're going to need to use that for any assignments then, and as well as the final exam. So go ahead and get that app now. And that's really important. So you don't have to worry about that right at the time. So Blackboard, as I said, Blackboard is everything in this course. I will be making announcements regularly, multiple times a week, sometimes every day, sometimes more than once a day. Make sure and check that site every day, at least once a day, for information. Again, it doesn't matter whether you're in the online section or in the on-campus section. Those announcements will be similar. Oftentimes, I will also be having at the beginning of each week a summary of what we're going to be doing that week. You'll have another document with that information as well, but this will be another reminder. Also, the Remind app, this is also in the Start Here section. This is a way for me to get in touch with you via text, right, by sending messages to you, reminders about upcoming deadlines, etc. And students have found that to be really useful. I do not have your cell phone number from this. You do not have my cell phone number. It's a third-party app that sits in the middle. So you provide your cell phone number there, and I provide my cell phone number on my side, and it makes the connection without actually sharing that with either party or anybody else for that matter. So please sign up for that or you'll miss things. I will be sending things out via email, but I also send them out via Remind, and students have told me over and over again that they really value getting the text messages in addition to the email about things in the course. That's what that Remind app is about. Right? It's part of the Start Here steps for starting in the course. So their course learning outcomes, an overview of what the course is about. It's really about using models. This is an upper level, is one of our core theory classes in the major. It's really developing an economic model to explain, predict, evaluate policy about the economy, about the macroeconomy, about long-run growth, and about business cycles. Okay, and we'll use those models to help explain and evaluate things, help to predict things, right, and really sharpen your analytical thinking skills. One of the things that companies who come to get an economics graduate, hire our economics graduates, either for full-time jobs or for summer internships. One of the things that they will really value are your analytical thinking skills. It's one of the things that sets economics apart from many other disciplines. So we're going to get lots of practice with that. And that is the name of the game. You have to explain why all the time in this course. It's not enough to memorize things. You need to be able to understand it so you can explain why things are happening and why the model is the way it is, why curves shift. All right. And that's going to be really critical. So it's important for you to understand that from the very beginning. And then the last part of the course, last 3 weeks or so, we'll be looking through the lens of economics at some economic diversity, equity, inclusion, DEI kinds of things, social justice kinds of things. And what do economists have to say about that? What does economic analysis, what does our model have to say about those kinds of topics? As an economist, you're a budding economist. What can you contribute in that thinking space? So we'll get lots of practice with that. And so here are some learning goals for the course, right? What's in red down here is critical. You're only going to get out as much from the course as you put into it. And so what follows right from that is how much time should you expect to put into the course, right? And so this is from another website about things, right? So probably 2 to 3 hours or every hour of class time if you were taking it in class. And we can translate that to an online experience as well. So normally in a classroom, in a campus-based course, you'd have 3 hours of course in-class course work or course attendance during a week. And if you do, let's say 3 hours outside of class for every hour in class, right, that is another 9 hours. So 9 plus the 3 you're in class, that's 12 hours a week, roughly. And that's not just for this course, but other economics courses or other courses that you're taking as well. If you're taking 5 classes, you can do the math with that. Yeah, it's a full-time job. So trying to have a pretty full-time kind of job outside of school and trying to carry a full load and to do well, it's a tall order to do that. So I encourage you to make some choices at the margin about that, either working less or taking fewer courses. So to make sure that you are doing well in the courses that you're doing. Okay, course grades, and what contributes to those course grades is what everybody wants to know about, right? So there are a lot of moving parts in the class, right? 7 different kinds of things that you will get graded on here. The percentages of those things, there'll be exams. You get to drop the lowest of, well, 1, 2, and 4. Exam 3 won't be dropped, and we'll explain as we go along why that is. You'll see why that is. There are reading quizzes for each chapter. You get to drop the lowest score there. For the on-campus students, you'll have something called RATs, Readiness Assurance Tests, and for both online and on campus, you'll have just-in-time teaching JIT exercises as well. You have to drop the lowest score from that. Everybody will have homework exercises, weekly current macro conditions discussion postings, something called a FRED dashboard project, and a briefing report at the end of the semester. So things are kind of building partly to that. You can see that the exams are important. Each one is about 13%, because one gets dropped. There are 4, but one gets dropped. Homework is important too, because that plays into and helps you do better on the exams. Students always say that. So homeworks are relatively extensive, but their aim is to help you learn, but also get prepared for exams. The current macro conditions discussion board postings, those come from the Wall Street Journal. Those are discussing Wall Street Journal articles that you will have chosen. I'll be talking more about that as we go, but that will help provide information for this macro briefing report. It'll keep you up to date, as well as this FRED, Federal Reserve Economic Data, that's what FRED stands for, dashboard project. You'll be keeping track of a number of economic variables that get reported every month. And the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis provides a really useful, simple tool to make that easy to do. So that'll be an assignment to get that started, that dashboard started, and then you'll be keeping track of that throughout the semester. But again, those things, those 5 and 6 will feed into 7, okay? So it's not just extra work, it's meant to help you ultimately with that macro briefing report. So yeah, invest in yourself, invest in the course, invest in the time needed to do well. What's here is a little explanation of each one of those graded components in the course. Again, the online course section will not have the team-based exercises. We do that we need to do that synchronously. We do that in the classroom, but you will have certainly the just-in-time teaching exercises. For the online students, you will have some version of what the on-campus students have done in the classroom in terms of the exercises that they worked on as a team. So I will make a commitment to sharing those and perhaps providing a little bit of an overview about those weekly as well. And the other things I'll be announcing regularly in the course, and you'll see that we'll have another document that has the schedule and has the outline of what's due each week as well. Okay, so graded assignments, information about that in terms of group work. Be careful about that. You need to be doing your own work. If you're copying somebody else's work and turning that in as your own, that's a big problem, and you could be gone from the course if that happens, and certainly wouldn't get credit for that assignment, but it can be worse than that, and you can actually be moved out of the course. Be careful, be careful, be careful. But at the same time, it's okay to work with other students. It's just when you write things up to hand in, you need to be doing that yourself and not just copying from someone else. No late work, no extra credit, generally not makeup work, partly because you have the ability to drop the lowest grade on most things in the course. So generally there's not makeup work that's offered in the course. So what follows is a section, a couple of different sections, one about regarding university policies and making people aware of that. Academic integrity, dealing with plagiarism, dealing with cheating, dealing with other kinds of things. Honor code, make sure and think about this in terms of the academic integrity within the course. And if you're violating that, then, as I said, you may be faced with failing the course. Okay. Make sure and read through this section. These are the kinds of things. This comes from the undergraduate bulletin for the university, which is really the key document that outlines all policies and procedures for the university. You've got a link to the undergraduate bulletin here in this document as well. But these are the kinds of things that, but not the only things that would account for academic dishonesty. So I like to think about it the other way, is that maintaining academic honesty and integrity and violations of that, as opposed to academic dishonesty. Okay. It's a key component for the College of Business and Economics, the Dean's College, as well as for the university. Right. So the penalties are pretty severe. We take it really seriously in the department. As department chair, with other faculty members, when they have situations like this, I universally, I don't know of a time when I have not supported the faculty member in the penalty that they were looking to impose on the student for an academic integrity violation. So just do what you need to do it the right way, and you'll be fine. Not a problem. Okay. All right. Courtesy, civility, all these things go without saying, but we do need to say them to make people aware, right? In terms of being a good citizen in the course, for attendance in the on-campus section of this course. I will take attendance daily, and that is part of your grade. Actually, you do have some leeway on that. It's not that you get some passes on that if you have to, because sometimes people need to be gone, and we'll see that down here in just a moment. So for the on-campus section of the course, if you miss more than 4, that's more than 2 weeks of the course. So that's pretty generous. Will result in a 1.5 percentage point penalty on your final grade, not the final exam, final grade. Right? There's an example here, right? Make sure you stick within that 4, and there's no penalty. You're fine. Sometimes we have things at the beginning of class for the on-campus section. So if you're late, you may miss it, and you may miss points that occur at that point. So please be to class on time. For those of you in the online section, there are a variety of ways that we think about participation in attendance. Really, it's about engagement in the course and participation in the course. So it has to do with handing things in, has to do with getting things in on time, etc. And those are ways that can measure activity, engagement in the course in the online section. Okay. A variety of university policies are undergraduate bulletin, student handbook. Those are links, hot links there as well. Policies for the classroom. So this is again for the or on campus, in a classroom kinds of policies. They don't pertain in the same way to online students, of course. So this is, and you won't see this section actually in the online version of the syllabus. But I don't need to make a separate video for each one of these. I just want to point out that difference. In the same way with electronic device policy, we'll talk about that in class, from the in-class section as we go along. We'll see that here. There are times when we using a laptop in particular, probably be just fine. And we'll talk about that, but it needs to not be abused, and that's the point, right? Because it really is disruptive. Yeah, and you'll see these blue boxes. Those are things in particular that kind of summarize important policies or things that you really need to pay attention to, right? And then there are different policies, academic policies and information through links here, the academic calendar, counseling services, for example, repetition of courses policy, how do you withdraw from an individual course, FERPA, privacy of information, and what your rights are in that regard, student complaint procedure, and then other general information. So those are all embedded here in the syllabus for you for quick access if you need it. And then the Americans with Disabilities Act, let me point out that if you have a need and an accommodation, whether you are an in-class student or whether you are an online student, you need to work through our Office of Accessibility Resources, ORS, and the information is provided here on how to do that. It can't be retroactive. That's what's in the blue box here. That's what's really important and underlined. You need to let me know and any other faculty members that you have classes with at the beginning of the semester, for those accommodations. So you need to work through ORS for that to happen. And the ORS office will send us information about what those accommodations are without telling us what's behind that, or what the specific issue is, what the specific request is by you. So we don't get that information. All we know is that there's some particular accommodation that they have vetted, that they have confirmed needs that specific accommodation. So if you are in need of that, please do that now. Don't wait. Not wait until an exam. Don't wait till something else. Get it done now. Sexual assault, harassment, misconduct. Kind of goes without saying. We want to provide a safe learning environment for everybody. And that's true whether it's an online environment or whether it's an on-campus environment, because that sort of certainly harassment and other kinds of sexual misconduct can occur in both spaces. So please pay attention to that as well. If you were a victim of that, whether it's in school or not, we have people that you can talk to and can reach out to. Okay. And just notice here, I will say that this is an important point. Faculty members are considered what we call responsible employees, and they're required to report instances of sexual misconduct and relationship violence to the Title IX coordinator if we hear about it. So if you tell me something about that, I am bound by law to report that to the Title IX coordinator. So it's just important it's not that you shouldn't do that, but you just need to understand that you can't sort of say something to me or say something to another faculty member and then say, well, I don't want that to go any further. We're bound by federal law to do that. Okay, so we're here to be your ally and point you in the right direction. Absolutely. But if you tell us about that there was an incident of that sort, we are going to report it because it's that important. Okay. All right. Some tutoring upswing. We may have some other tutoring in place by individual students later in the semester. We'll see that kind of as an individual kind of thing, and maybe some of our upper class students who have taken the course, for example, might be willing to do that. Blackboard support, my Econ Lab support, or Pearson support. Those links and those numbers are here. And then there is a sheet that's one of the steps in the Start Here portion of the course that you need to sign off on and submit to me in both whether you're in the on campus or online section. And it goes through a whole variety of things to make sure you really understand what your responsibilities are in the course. Okay. But they're repeated here as well, right? They're copied here. And then there's a separate document that has the course outline, topic coverage, schedule, due dates, etc. that will appear in Blackboard as well. So the syllabus will always be under the syllabus link in Blackboard, so you'll always have access to this. But I encourage you to download a copy, keep it handy. This really is your document that answers 90% of the questions that students generally have in this course. It's pretty comprehensive, as you can see. So I just wanted to go through that to really help you understand what information is in here and to highlight some of the more important points. So please keep a copy handy and use it to reference, and always go here first when you have a question, and then ask. If you don't find the answer there, then you can ask me that question. All right, so I look forward to a great semester together with you.